Hey, it's Derek with Madison HVAC. We've been getting a lot of questions online and phone calls into the office about the inclement weather coming in, what to do during an ice storm. These are a few tips that I've put together to help you navigate the inclement weather a little bit better. A couple things to remember, just starting off, if we don't get a ton of ice accumulation, you really don't have a lot to worry about on your HVAC system. The more ice buildup that we get running the outdoor unit, if you have a split system or a traditional heat pump system where the outdoor unit runs during the winter, we need to just pay attention to a couple things. Ice buildup on the top of it, and if it's making noise. If either one of those things aren't happening, you can leave it on. You don't have to put your system into emergency heat. In case of a power outage, we need to turn off a couple breakers on the inside of our house so when the power gets restored, there's not a huge demand in your house and it drops the voltage to the independent pieces of equipment. So I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the outdoor unit and show you what a breaker box looks like and what breakers I would recommend to turn off. Here are the electrical panels that you need to locate in your house. Yours can be gray or brown, and they might look slightly different than this, but you need to locate the main power supply coming in your house. Once you've located the breaker box in your home, there are typically two types of breakers in a breaker box. You have double pole breakers like this, and you have single pole. After we have lost power, the double pole breakers are the ones that I'm going to turn off. The single pole breakers I'm going to leave on because when the power gets turned back on, I want the lights and stuff to work in my house. So leave these on, turn these off. Once the power comes back on and is consistent, we can turn our double pole breakers back on. This breaker is off, these breakers are on. This breaker's off, these breakers are on. We still have power currently, but in the case that we lose power, we will turn all these double pole breakers off. That's going to turn off the power to all the major components in your house. During the ice storm, if we start getting a good amount of ice accumulation, the outdoor unit might start making noise or get a considerable amount of ice buildup on the outside. You need to be paying attention to that. If either of those things happen, if you notice it has a good sheet of ice, like if we get a 1/2 inch of ice, put your system in emergency heat. If we're not getting a ton of ice buildup, then this thing will work fine. It goes into defrost by itself. It has a fan blade right here and it blows air out of it. So the only problems that you might run into is ice buildup on the top of it and the ice hitting the fan blade and making noise. So if either one of those things happen, go ahead and put your system in emergency heat and wait till this thing thaws out completely before you turn your system back into regular heat mode. Other than that, it should be absolutely fine. The system goes into defrost by itself, so I typically leave my system on unless we get a considerable amount of ice or I start hearing noise. The last thing is to unplug major appliances like refrigerators and deep freezes. So we can plug all those things back in and we can turn the breakers on after stable power has been turned back on to our house. I hope that we don't have the inclement weather, but in case that we do, if you follow these few tips, everything will be fine. We'll get back to regular life when the power gets turned back on and you won't have any damage to the expensive equipment in your house. Hope everybody stays safe tonight and warm. Thank you.